Hey everyone, Dr. Frunke here with an awesome new knife consult for you. In front of us is a very unusual knife that I've wanted to get my hands on for a long time. This is the Something Obscene Company J-Cape. This is a unique knife that's got a really cool grind and what looks like a very ergonomic handle, and I haven't seen very many YouTube videos about it. I did see a video by my good buddy Eugene Kwan, which was solid, and he really liked the knife so much that he bought two of them, so his enthusiasm had me get excited about the knife. I wanted to go ahead and thank my buddy Russell, who goes by That's Not a Knife on Instagram. Thank you for sending this knife along for a review. Really excited to get this one in hand because of that grind. That is one of the most beautiful grinds I've ever seen on a knife. And we'll get into that. What comes with the knife is this certificate of authenticity, I suppose, where it notes that it's a J-Cape, and they have the way to get in touch with the maker, Felix. It's got the CPM S35 VN with a hollow grind, blasted tie handles and pocket clip, burnt bronze color, 5.9 ounces with a 3 3/4 inch blade length. Stay classy, stay obscene. And what you can see is that also included in this was a what looks like a blade that appears to have warped during heat treat. It's signed by the maker here, Felix Archibeque. I apologize, sir, for butchering your name. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. But he is the man behind Something Obscene Company. This is his design. Enjoy your knife. Thank you for your support, and God bless. So let's go ahead and get into the knife itself. This is designed by Mr. Felix, and it is executed by We Knives. So we've seen a lot of knives recently executed by the We Knife Company, and they honestly do a pretty darn good job. I have a video here on the VDK Impaler, which is also a knife that is made by We Knives. I'm trying to look around and see, is there anything else I have made by We? Not at the moment, but this is just one of very many sort of mid-techy knives that are being made by We Knives. So these guys that have these excellent designs finally have an avenue to bring these knives to the market at a reasonable price point. Speaking of which, this knife comes in at about $265 new. The current production run has been sold out for a little while, but he may do a second run, and these are available on the secondary market. So let's go ahead and get some vital signs on this knife. What are we looking at? Up front, you are looking at about a 3.75 inch blade as designated by the birth certificate. You've got 3.6 inches of overall cutting length. I will say that the heel of the blade is not perfectly executed, so really you have 3.5 inches of effective cutting length, about 4 inches back to the pivot, and 8.1 inches overall length right there. You've got a 4.6 inch handle with a grip area of about 4 inches right there. The handle thickness is coming in at probably around half an inch. Let's see, 0.5 to 4 inches. So a nice thin handle, but still fills the hand, and 157 thousandths on the blade stock. I wanted to get this dimension actually right here. This is quite a tall blade, and so I wanted to see what this dimension was right there. That's about 144 thousandths. I may have rolled that down a little. Or that should be 1.14, I guess is what that said. So pretty tall, 1.1 inches right there on that overall blade height right there. So speaking of the blade, let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically and see what we're working with. Up front is that blade of S35 VN. This is a very beautiful hollow grind, guys. This is one of my favorite ways that blades can be ground. I had my 0392 ground like this. I don't have it right now. It's actually being touched up at the moment. But I love this compound grind where it has the deep hollow here for the primary bevel, the flat out front, the harpoon swedge coming down to meet it. It's just brilliantly done. This is a beautiful blade shape, and it's exceedingly functional. You get a lot of cutting length from that 3.75 inch blade, but you get even more with that curvature, a very nice belly, a very nice flat area right there. The area leading up to the sharpening choil is a bit of a miss right there. I don't know if I can get it to focus well enough, but you can see the blade is in fact not even remotely sharpened there at the sharpening choil. There's actually a full-on triangle of steel actually still there, so that's a bit of a miss in terms of that, in my opinion. But that's a really minor thing. You still get a nice functional area, and if you're good with your mods and your sharpening, perhaps you can fix that yourself. There is a nice thumb ramp on the blade, and the thumb rests very, very nicely there. There is no forward finger choil. If I can make one small improvement, it would be to make a forward finger choil on this knife. I think it would be perfect for that with this blade shape. Just extend that choil a little bit more. Moving back to the pivot, as is standard on most WE knives, this is running on a ceramic ball bearing system. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see too much on the inside there, but there is a ball bearing system there. It is a flipper deployment only, and in standard WE knives fashion, the detent is excellent. There is a bit of a high lock bar tension. It's not the easiest lock bar to actuate. And that's going to bring me to my next point, and that's about the flipper, about the disengagement, and about the knife in general. I made a joke in an Instagram post recently about the name of the knife. It's called the J Cape, and I said that name probably stands for jimping because this knife is so heavily jimped. It's jimped underneath the flipper tab, on the blade, on the back of the handle, on the other side of the handle, on the flipper tab, and on the lock bar. And these are rather sharp jimps. These are the type that are just that right depth and sharpness that they kind of bite you when you're trying to use the knife. I would really think that for prolonged use, you would want to wear gloves on this knife. This also suffers from that problem that the Hinderer XM18 has, where your finger lands on jimping right here, and it's a bit uncomfortable every time you flip and deploy the knife. Moreover, disengaging the knife right here, this jimping is rather sharp, and the lock bar does not protrude from the handle in any meaningful way, so you're really having to rely on the sharpness of that jimping to grab your finger to allow you to disengage that. So that's a sort of a minor complaint right there. The knife is not the most comfortable because of all of that jimping. The jimping on the flipper tab is also quite sharp, but it functions well. It's not uncomfortable to flip the knife, but it is quite sharp in sort of this direction, and you can feel it in that way. Again, wearing gloves would be advised if using this for hard work or long-term work. The pocket clip is done as a lightning bolt, and this actually harkens back to Felix's primary job. He used to work as sort of an advanced electrical technician. He has a nice story and a nice review written on his website where it explains a little bit more about his history, but both his logo with the fist here with the high voltage sign on the middle finger right there and the high voltage sign clip right here sort of harkens back to his previous occupation. He's now a full-time knife maker. I will say this clip, while it is visually stimulating, and it's relatively functional in the sense that you can get it onto your pants easily, is not the ideal pocket clip. I wish that this knife came with an alternative pocket clip for two reasons. Number one, it's not particularly comfortable in the hand. It could provide some hot spots if you were using this in any real setting. Certain hands, I'm sure, will be much more uncomfortable with this. Secondarily, when you put this into the pocket, maybe I can get a piece of cloth here to demonstrate for you. When you put this into the pocket, when you try to take it out of the pocket, sometimes these little hooks right here, this one in particular hooks onto the material, and it just is a little bit annoying when you're taking it out of the pocket. It's not a huge deal, but it is a deal. There is a steel insert on the inside there, well done by WE Knives. The detent and the action I didn't really talk about well is perfectly dialed. Maybe I did talk about that, but it's a very, very nice flipper. So what do I think about this knife after having handled it, carried it, and used it for a few weeks here? Well, honestly, I'm very impressed. I think it is a beautiful knife. I think that the ergonomics are on point, except that the jimping is a little bit too excessive. I would love to see a version of this knife with none of the jimping in this area and maybe reduced all around here. Maybe have this protrude a little bit to be easier to disengage. But I love the blade shape. The blade functionality is excellent. The rest of the handle ergonomics are very good. I would like to see a regular pocket clip, maybe mill the lightning bolt into the scale somewhere. I'm not sure, but I think it could be done in a different way. But I am very impressed. I think Something Obscene Company is a guy to watch out for. Felix does great work. He clearly has a beautiful and excellent eye for design, so I will be looking forward to his next models here. Thanks again to Russell for sending this along. Guys, go ahead and click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram as Dr. Frunky, and take care.